This is Gene Monteristilling. Welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast, recorded live to tape from Williamsburg in Brooklyn. This is episode 427, originally aired September 14th, 2011, re-edited and remastered for February 3rd, 2020. Hi, everyone. I hope this finds you well wherever you are and whatever time of day you're getting a chance to listen to this. Thanks for spending a little time with me today. Today, we are going to talk about how to set yourself up for success when sitting down to tap. Now, obviously, when we are tapping, we can just dive right in. But if we give ourselves a few moments of prep time before we start going after the issues that we go after, we can put ourselves into a position where we are more present and more grounded to what is going on, which means that we are going to be more successful. So what I have here are 5 simple things that you can do. Most of them just take a few seconds at the beginning of a tapping session to get yourself grounded. As a side note, as these are the old podcasts that we are re-editing and remastering as we bring them into the regular podcast feed, this was originally recorded right after I made a move. So I moved from a small space into a bigger space, and this was originally a video that got turned into a podcast. Therefore, it's a little bit echoey just because I didn't get everything completely dialed in the new space when I was recording there. With that being said, the audio is really easy to listen to and has lots of great information. It's just going to sound not quite as clear as this. So here are 5 things that you can do at the beginning of your tapping session. Now today what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you how I start every tapping session I do. I go through a very simple 5-step routine every single time, which helps set the table to ensure that the healing work we're going to do is going to allow us to move in very, very quickly. Now, each of the steps is really simple. You can do them without explaining them to your client. You can just take them step by step and do them. You don't have to use all 5, but these are the 5 I use every single time. Now, the first thing that I do is just the basic tap on the side of the hand. I have take a nice big deep breath. Now, we all know that this clears psychological reversal. And before we begin, they already have tuned in the issue that they want to be working on today. They've already given it some attention. Now, it's not total focus yet, but by simply having them know why we're tapping, because they've contacted us, and tapping on the side of the hand, we're going to start clearing a little psychological reversal. And I always give the instruction that I want them to take a nice big deep breath to start with. So it's just real simple. I want you to tap on the side of the hand, take a nice deep, easy breath. That's all there is to it. It starts to set the table, and it gets them ready to tap. The second thing I have them do is I have them tap with both hands underneath the eyes just like this. Now, if they don't have both hands free, that's okay. I don't make a big deal of it. I'll always ask them before we begin, if we're on the phone, are you holding a phone up to your ear or are you on a headset? Just so I know how many hands they have free. If they have both hands free, I have them tap under the eyes and just give them the instruction, I want you to take a nice deep breath, and I just want you to tune into being present to your physical body. Now, the reason I have them ground themselves in their physical body is because of the world we live in today, we don't spend a lot of time grounded in our body. We're very disconnected. We're online all of the time. We don't do work that's very physical, or at least most of us don't. And so we've lost touch with our body. Very much part of the healing process and the growth process happens physically. And so by beginning and having them take a nice, easy, deep breath and just being grounded in their body, we're putting them into a space that's going to ensure that they're more connected, because when I do work, I tune into lots of physical sensations, even with emotions, because it creates a real entryway into the work that we're doing. So it's just, I want you to tap under your eye with both hands, take a nice, deep breath, and just feel yourself grounded in your body. Nice and simple. The third thing I have them do is I have them tap on their collarbone, again with both hands, but this time I'm going to instruct them to cross their hands. So I say, I want you to tap on your collarbone, right on left collarbone and left and right collarbone. Take a nice deep breath. And this time what I want you to do is I want you to feel yourself grounded in this moment. Now, this piece of instruction, what it does is it helps them to know it's okay that I can forget about all the worries that I have coming in and my to-do list I have afterwards. And I'm saying the work I'm doing right now is really important. I'm pushing myself to this moment. And so what this does is it helps them to stay focused. It's important that they're aware of the things that are impacting their lives, but I don't need to be thinking about the laundry and picking up my kids if I'm doing some tapping work right now. So giving them permission to ground into their body. The fourth step, what I'm going to have them do is I'm going to say, I know you're not used to doing this because we don't do it a lot in tapping. I want you to take a fist, just nice and easy. I want you to tap right in the center of your chest. Take a nice deep breath. And this time what I want you to do is I want you to tune into the amazing healing power of the body. I want you to recognize all the things that happen on a subconscious and unconscious level day and night to ensure that you're healthy and safe. Now, by doing this, what we're able to do is we're able to recognize the fact that it's not perfect. It doesn't work all the time, but our system is trying to keep us safe and healthy in every action that it takes. Now, this does two things for us as a tapping practitioner. The first thing it does is it helps them to be appreciative of what's going on, because it's really easy for us to be in conflict with the work that's happening. My system's acting in a way that's not very healthy for me. How can I be appreciative of that? But what we're doing is we're recognizing the fact that the system is trying to work for us and move us forward, even if it's not doing it in a way that's perfectly healthy. So by recognizing that it's trying and we're appreciative of that, we're going to turn it into an allied relationship with the system. The second thing you'll notice is I use the term system. I don't say body. That's because it's a mind, body, heart, spirit system. And by doing this, we're opening our perspective with one simple word, without making a big deal about it, where we're letting the client know, the person we're tapping with know, that they can tune in lots of different ways. And so we're opening the healing process. The fifth and final step, all I do is I just have them tap on the chin, take a nice deep breath, and I just say, I want you to recognize that the space that we're in right now is a safe place. Whatever information the system has for us is safe, and there'll be no judgment here. Even if we don't understand the information and the system doesn't understand the information, this is a safe environment, and we want to hear the information that's coming forward. What we're doing is we're letting the client know that this is a safe space for us to hear what they have to say, but they're also letting their system know that even if the system isn't working perfectly, it's okay for the system to admit that so we can find a way to healing. Again, we're setting the table to allow them to be in a space to be honest and open with what's going on, because if they level with themselves, then we're going to be in a process where we can actually allow healing to happen. So two things are going on. The 5 steps, each one of the steps are setting up something really specific to allow us to do some healing work. We're clearing psychological reversal. We're grounded in our body. We're grounded in the moment. We're appreciating the work the system's doing. We're saying that it's safe to bring forward whatever information's there. But there's one other thing that we're doing here. We're training the person who we're tapping with to listen to the instructions we're giving. Because we're doing it in a low-stakes way, we're just telling them information that they know and they believe, or asking them to do things that are really simple. When we ask them to do something that has a higher stake, why do you believe this? Well, what's the memory that's associated with that? We've already created rapport, and what this is going to do is by doing these simple tasks at the beginning, they're beginning to trust us. They're building that rapport with us. So when it comes time to talk about something more complicated or maybe a little scarier, they're in a circumstance where they've started to trust us, and we've built that trust with each one of those 5 steps. It's really simple. It's really straightforward. You can use this when you're tapping by yourself. I do it all the time when I'm tapping with myself. Or when you're working with a client. You can use all 5 steps or any of the 5 that makes the most sense.
Very, very straightforward stuff. You don't have to use all 5 of those, but if you choose to use any of those, it is going to make a difference and you're going to get more out of your tapping. If you know someone in your life who could use something like this, make their tapping a little better, a little more efficient, please pass it along. Don't spam everybody in your inbox. But if you know someone who could use this, it would really mean the world to me if you passed it along. Also, if you have not done so already, make sure you are subscribed to the Tapping Q&A podcast. And in podcasting parlance, subscribe is always free. So no matter where you listen to audio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, everywhere you listen to audio online, if you type in Tapping Q&A, you will find the podcast, and however you can subscribe or follow in those systems, you will make sure that every single week when we produce new content, you get it sent to you right away and you don't miss something that was super useful. Questions and comments can always be sent directly to me. I love hearing from you. Some of the best topics we have ever covered have come from recommendations from listeners just like you. I can always be reached at Gene, Gene, at tappingqa.com. If you're on the website, just click on that contact link. If you happen to be inside of the Tapping Q&A app, which is free for both Android and Apple devices, click on the contact link in there and you can send me an email or a voice memo right inside of the app. For Tapping Q&A, this is Gene Montrestelli. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye. The Tapping Q&A podcast is copyright Gene Montrestelli Tapping Q&A. All views expressed by guests are those of the guests and not necessarily of Gene Montrestelli and Tapping Q&A.